Hi, welcome to part two. I'm interviewing Gabi Schoening, and Gabi does intuitive readings and energy shifts. And this, in part two, we're going to talk about the, wait a minute, I can say it right, Akashic Records. Did I get it?
Yes.
I had to write it out in phonetics. So what are the Akashic Records?
The Akashic Records are like an energy field where all the information of the whole history of the Earth is being held. It's a memory bank. Everything that ever happened on Earth, on this planet, is energetically recorded and can still be accessed. So no information is lost, even when a physical library is burned down, like recently happened. The information in the energy field is still there.
Is it in a particular place?
Nothing ever is lost.
Is it in a particular place?
It is in the energy field of the Earth.
Of the Earth, okay. Then I can picture that.
Yeah, it's like an energetic library.
And why you said it's of the Earth, but what about people? Does it hold our energy?
And then there's also the individual Akashic Records, so that's the personal energy field. And everything that we ever have experienced is recorded, like everything we ever did as an old person, a young person, as a child, and then in previous lifetimes. That is in our personal energy field.
Can anybody read them?
Yes, that is what happens in sessions. That's the energy field that I connect into. Mm-hmm. And if there's anything that needs to be shifted, it'll show up.
How are you able to connect it to this Akashic library?
I connect into it pretty much with my presence and intuition, and with the help of my spiritual guides and helpers. And I ask, that the information comes forward when I do sessions for people that is most needed.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people I talk to, like yourself, talk about spirit guides and helpers. Do we all have? If we all have spirit guides and helpers, how can we connect to them, and how can we have them assist us in this lifetime?
We all have like our personal guardian angel, and above and beyond that, more angels and helpers and loving, supportive ancestors.
Ancestors, so somebody who's crossed over can also be a guide for you, like maybe your great-grandmother?
It often happens, yeah.
Uh-huh. And how can we tap into that? Like, do I need to meditate? Do I need to is it an intuitive hit? How do I know that they're guiding me, or how do I get in touch with my spirit guide or guides? I know you can, so you're more advanced.
One way is to sit in meditation and listen, or to pray, depending on what the spiritual practice is. Simply to be present, moment to moment in the daily life, paying attention to synchronicities. For some people, it's like a song that comes on, and they know it's like, somebody. Maybe their grandmother who died 3 years ago is letting them know she's close by playing that song.
Or it could be a bird, like somebody loved robins or something. There's a robin on your... Yeah, I get it.
Absolutely.
I can understand that. So it's good to be aware of these things, not open up your mind to what's happening around you. Otherwise, a lot of times you miss it. I used to be Catholic.
By paying attention.
So I pray to St. Anthony a lot when I lose something. I usually always find it. And I carry St. Christopher with me. I mean, that's sort of a way of connecting.
One way to notice in nature is when you stand outdoors and suddenly the wind changes.
Yeah?
Or a little breeze comes up. Noticing those shifts and changes. Or you walk through a forest, the temperature is suddenly a little bit cooler. It's like different beings that kind of make themselves known with the wind, with the temperature.
So you believe in the nature...
with the animals.
Uh-huh. You believe in the nature spirits, too.
I do.
I do, too, because there was a place, my husband and I were in Scotland last year, and I made him drive to Findhorn. Do you know the story of
Findhorn?
Findhorn. You know the story of that?
I've been to Findhorn twice. I love it.
I thought you couldn't go in, though. It says it's not open to the public anymore. Tell us quickly a little story, because this is exciting.
My honeymoon, I spent my honeymoon in Findhorn.
Oh, that's where a group of people went there, and it was desolate. They couldn't grow anything, and they asked the, what do you call them, the energies and the spirit guides.
Eileen and Peter Caddy.
A wonderful story.
They always have really inspired me. They had nothing, they lost everything, but they had 5 children. They lived on the beach in a little camper. And in order to grow a garden, they were gathering algae for compost. And so they grew their first vegetables and flowers, and another, RV would join them. And so they built this whole village, and then they inherited a big hotel, and they held international conferences and workshops, and they drew spiritual people from all over the world, and they grew humongous vegetables of a size never seen before, because they wanted to demonstrate that the nature spirits are real.
Yes.
So they connected with the nature spirits, and they got rewarded with the most amazing big vegetables.
I love that story, and I walked through where we live. There's a woods, and people put fairy gardens there.
Mm-hmm.
I just love it. I think more and more people are open to this now. That's a great story.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand how we can connect to our spirit guides. Just be attentive, and we could meditate, or we could just, like you said, notice shifts in our environment. So what happens when we actually raise our vibrational levels? Say, different people are operating on different vibrational levels, right? And first off, how can we raise our vibration? And then when we do, how does that shift or change our lives? I don't know if that...
Okay, I always kind of look at the difference. We each have our ego, our personality that is not perfect. And then we have our higher self, our I am presence, which is divinely perfect. So the more we kind of go to this level of perfection, the more and more the ego gets transformed. And the way I use it in energy work, sometimes mothers come to me, for example, and they have a really, really hard time, maybe with an adult child, and are really troubled about it. Maybe they stopped contact. And so I help them understand that they can talk to the higher self of that child. And we often do that together in a session. And at that level of the higher self, the child will listen and understand. And that way, some insights will kind of trickle down, to the level of the personality. Some insights come, and maybe a phone call follows them.
From what I understand, the higher self is the part of you that's still on the other side.
That's our divine, perfectly divine being.
That's why we are divine and
our
perfect.
soul, yeah.
And I understand we can connect to that part of us, and we manifest that way. Miracles happen.
And then, when we get born, we forget.
It's too bad. We sure have to learn a lot of lessons.
And then, we have to remember who we truly are, and we're like on the way back.
And before we end this interview, I want to ask you, because we are energy bodies, physical ailments will manifest. We have manifestations of the energies, and it can be affected in a positive way by energy. In other words, if we have all this negative energy around us, that's how we develop diseases and
okay,
ailments.
so we have these bodies, but nothing starts at this level. Everything starts with energy. First there's the energy, and everything else follows. Nobody gets sick just like that. Usually, like, there's an event, that kind of shakes them up emotionally, and then they don't have enough immunity to
physically
fight it.
Yeah.
But without that triggering event, it might not even happen. So to reverse any kind of illness, it's also really good to look at the thoughts, to look at the emotions, to look at the events and shift the attitude and be conscious about what thoughts create,
Now you probably know
what words create.
Words is very important, aren't they? Words that heal. I have a book, Words That Heal. You gotta watch the words. They used to say sticks and stones can break my bones, but words can never hurt me. That is not true. It's not true. Now you probably know Barbara Eden. She is an energy worker, and she's got a YouTube, and you can go on there and she shows you how to clear your energy field. Do you ever do that with people, clear their energy fields, or teach them how to clear their energy fields?
Every time.
Oh, good. I know it's kind of weird to see it happen, so we probably won't do it unless you really want to, how you clear it. But anything else to add about
I think energy work is a wonderful way of prevention of illness. You know, oftentimes we feel like something is coming on and it can be stopped before it even fully manifests. Or if it already manifested, then it can be supported and helped by energy work.
That's what I was going to ask you. It can be reversed.
A good complementary modality. More and more hospitals now allow Reiki. That's one of the most well-known forms of energy work, but there are many more.
That's encouraging,
and
isn't
my
it?
hope is in the future that all hospitals, you know, will be open and that doctors will collaborate and utilize the benefits of this kind of work.
Because we're body, mind, and spirit. If we just work with the body, we're not going to help it that much.
And it will be so much cheaper too. It's a way of saving a lot of money.
Well, maybe that won't come about. I don't know. Well, we can only hope. Let's hope. Well, you said like all with the planetary things coming in with the sun, we're raising the vibration. So I do see things changing. It's very encouraging. Anything else you want to add, Gabi?
That's it.
Okay. Well, thank you so much again, and I want to do another interview with you shortly. So stay tuned. We're going to do part 3 in just a moment. Thank you.